you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
It's now 6 o'clock. We call this meeting to order. Establish a quorum. We need to add a D on the revised agenda to approval of the previous minutes. So we need a motion to approve that agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the
I'll
agenda.
second it.
Have a first and a second. Call the roll, please.
Director Harvey?
Yes.
Hal?
Yes.
Sean?
Here.
Medford?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Shelton?
Yes.
Quinn? Yes.
All right, now we just, are the minutes in here? All right, and we'll entertain a motion to approve the previous minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the previous minutes of school board.
Second.
Director Quinn?
Yes.
Shelton?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Medford?
Yes.
Shelton?
Yes.
Hal?
Yes.
Harvey?
All right, information?
Okay, in your packets, and you all have in here the ACT expired data for the high school and the elementary school. This is our first interim assessment taken in November, and you probably have multiple pages in here simply because, I mean, we made a mistake and we copied multiple times. And so that's what's hard. You know when it's time to take a break. Let's just say that. So if you look at CB Part T, the overall English is 58% proficient at this point, reading 19%, science 16%, math 17%, and then it's broken down by each grade. We are, just like we are always at the end of the year, we're doing well in English because a lot of times that is multiple choice and it's not at a higher DOK level as the other areas. We're going to take a deeper look at our reading across the board and see what changes and adjustments that needs to be made. And I'm going to meet with the principals and work with them on some changes that I think need to be put in place in order to make sure that these numbers improve in all these areas because we're not satisfied with where they are now. And high school, English, 51%. Every year since I've been here, the K-12 has done well with the English. It is the reading and the math and the other subjects that are stumping us. High school, reading 18%, science 15%, math 19%. It's another little page. It's after that yellow page in your booklet. We're making some good strides with our 7th and 8th grade. Like I say, we put in there a grade network that we're working with the high school with, and there's some issues with 9th through 10, but I am addressing those issues with that teacher to see how that I can support her to get where she needs to be. But I mean, 7th, 8th grade is in a good spot for us. Their reading is at this time of the year. We expect to make gains in that reading. As you see, even with our science and stuff, we're still not anywhere near where we need to be, but even with 7th and 8th grade, they're coming along better than our 9th and our 10th grade science. Math, 8th grade math is 31%. The rest of them, like I said, 7th grade, 14%. We have a lot of work to do. This is not where we want to be. It's not acceptable. I understand that. Like I said, we're going to work with those principals and put in place the adjustments that I think that needs to be made in both of those schools. So that's where we are with and I continue to give you academic progress and updates as well.
Any questions on any of that?
How are we compared to like the last few years?
I can go back and I can look at that, but I can tell you the last few years we've had we would have taken 2 by this time last year because the State Department required us to have 3, or getting ready to take the second one. But this time, they only required us to take 2. And so that's why, so really, I wouldn't have anything really to say this is one and this is one again, because they changed it up on us where we're not taking as many. But like I say, in between this, I'm also looking at Renaissance data in addition to this. So I'm not looking at just one data source. I'm looking at all sources of information to try to figure out what the problem is. And so we can, because it's obviously a lot of things that's school-wide, a lot of things that's district-wide. And so that's one reason that the State Department is pushing the science of reading, because reading is a difficult thing to teach children. And so they're pushing that, and they're mandating that all K-6 teachers go through the science of reading and have to be proficient. And the state is actually going to send in some assessors to make sure that they are proficient in this. So this is not a local thing. This is a state mandated thing that's having to take place, and all administrators have to have 18 hours of awareness of the science of reading, so they can at least be aware of what's going on in the State Department's expectation, because they recognize that across the board, we're not where we need to be in reading across the state of Arkansas, and have lagged behind forever. So they want to make sure people, because there are, a lot of practices that are in place that are not effective practice. They're not evidence-based practices. And so that's a State Department initiative, and it's mandated that we do it.
So,
Go ahead.
so there's a certain criteria, or could we create something within our own self? Find some kind of something else that would work for our kids to help them read better?
It's really making sure you have to go back to the K2, really. I mean, K3, they're still learning to read, but even beyond that, because we know who our kids are, they're learning to read. So we're talking about going back, putting phonics and phonemic awareness and making sure they're mastering it. So we have to be cognizant of what's going on those very low levels. What's going on in kindergarten, where they're learning their alphabets and their sound and their one-to-one correspondence with those letters. So we have to make sure that is in place, because the older kids get, the more difficult it is to teach them to read. So we have to make sure that, and the State Department they are aware that a lot of practice are going on in schools. They're not research or evidence-based, and that because behind the science of reading, flashcards is not one of the things that they're pushing. They're telling people to eliminate those practices, because that is not how the brain learns to read. And we know this, people who have reading background, we know this, but making sure that all teachers know this is the problem. And so that's where we're getting to that point now.
All right. Facilities update?
Yes, just want to make everyone aware. We had a facilities meeting the other night. Dr. Stein was here giving us an overview with the facilities committee and telling us what our next steps needed to be. So we know that we're in the planning stage from now to probably about another 6 months, trying to determine, are we going to pursue a millage? Not now, but 2 years from now. But we have to start working on the plans now to get that in place. Are we going to look at renovation and things of that nature? So I just want to say we have done that. And I got the labor board report back, and it's just some minor things as far as making sure we have rubber rugs in front of the sinks in the cafeteria, so if someone slips and fall. And then it was like a bridge gap between something here on the elementary level that once the maintenance guy comes back, then I can work with him on getting those things corrected. So it was just like 2 findings for the not having the rugs in front of the sink, and then a little area on the elementary campus that they saw between the K4 building and I think the 5-6 building. So they immediately sent that back, and they gave us a timeline to have those things corrected and sent back in to them. So.
All right. Personnel reports?
Don't have any.
Brings us to our financial items.
Action.
Beginning balance for November 30, 2018, $967,000, $902.13. Receipts from prior month of October 2018, $670,586.64. Current month receipts for November of 2018, $53,101. The total available for those funds is $1,691,589.77. The expenses from October 2018 and November 2018, $785,601.64. The amount available for operating is $905,988.13. Building fund balance, $598,535.76. The debt service fund is a negative $12,557.51. Federal fund, negative $28,312.55. Activity fund is $52,229.62. Cafeteria fund is negative $54,637.71. The total balance for all funds is $1,461,225.74.
And again, if you see negative balances, it's because the State Department runs behind. It's like you spend your own money and we'll pay you back later. So that's how they do that.
Have we heard anything else, or where you had read about the food program that?
Yes, I'm actually working on the RFV now. I called the State Department on last week because they had told us that we would have the updated application. I have the old application, I filled it out, and the lady told me that they're waiting on the U.S. government to send them the updated copy. So I'm good. I've done my part. I'm just waiting on them to send me the updated form and we can get it typed in. But I have completed my side of it, and then we'll bring it to the board. And you all will look at it, prove it, and then we'll go on to the bidding process, and we have to bid out with different companies. They'll actually visit the school, and I walk them around, and then we'll have open bids and to decide which company that we choose to go with.
Any more questions on the financials? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the financials as read.
A second.
Director Thomas,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Medford,
Yes.
Queen,
Yes.
Shelton,
Yes.
Harlan.
All right, action items.
Okay, I would like you all to consider letting us dismiss for Thursday and Friday, December the 20th and 21st at 2 o'clock.
What time?
2 o'clock. Next Thursday, next Friday.
Any questions? Any discussion?
This Thursday, this Friday. That's what you asked me. This Thursday and Friday, this Friday.
Now, we gonna keep y'all in school as long as y'all need.
This Thursday and Friday. I keep thinking we got one more week.
No, baby, we gonna get that this week. Girl.
All right, y'all heard the recommendation. If there's no discussion, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Director Harlan.
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Medford.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Shelton.
Yes.
Queen.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so you know each year you have to notify the court of what month that you plan on doing your election in. So it's that time to do that again. So are you want to keep it in November or May?
It's probably cheaper if there is a general election. The May one would probably be on us.
Okay.
Elections are always held in November. so
Yeah,
let's-
I'm good with November.
Better turnout too,
Yeah.
in
Okay.
November. because
And
they're-
that's just election time, so.
I'm good too.
Okay, in November? Okay. And now, when we get closer to, I mean, just in the future. But whenever we decide, when we do millages, then we have to decide then. You know, we'll make a decision when we want to hold our elections and things then. Because Mr. McBride was really wanting to know where we plan on trying to do another one this year, and I told him not this year. So, because he said that would be important to determine your election date.
We need to vote on that, We need to vote on that, don't we? All right, if everybody's okay with November, I'll entertain a motion to make November our election month.
So move.
Director Shelton,
Yes.
Medford,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Queen,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones, Harris.
Yes.
Okay. Consider appointment of primary and alternate dispersing officers, because we just had a reorganization of the board, so we had to take off Mr. Hoggett. So we also need to remove Mr. Hoggett, and then we need to put Mr. Mefford on there. And Mr. Harrell, you on there, but you'll have to sign this new form with Mr. Mefford tonight.
What about Harvey?
Miss-
Oh, you don't know that. Okay.
All right, so we entertain a motion to remove Mr. Hoggett from the dispersing officer and add myself and Pastor Harold.
So move. I'll second.
Make a motion, Shelton. Director Harvey,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Medford,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shelton,
Yes.
Queen.
Yes.
Executive session.
Yes.
All right, it's now 6:18. We'll move to executive session for personnel. All right, it's now 6:50. We'll call the meeting back to order. No action was taken in executive session. We have recommendations.
Yes, I recommend that you accept the resignation of Jan Fuller for Executive Administrative Assistant, Caitlin Washington as preschool teacher, parapro, and Delvin Davy as high school reading lab, parapro.
All right, we've heard the recommendations. Do we have a motion?
So move.
I'm second. Good. Randy.
Director Harvey,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Medford.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Shelton.
Yes.
Queen.
Yes.
Okay, I recommend that we hire Mrs. Dawn Starr for Executive Administrative Assistant, and and for the custodian, Regina Ramey for the custodian. And, kind of want to, stay on a probationary, basis, because we have had problems with custodians.
Do them one at a time.
Okay, so, I recommend that we hire Mrs. Dawn Starr for Executive Administrative Assistant.
All right, we've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So move. Second.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Medford.
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Shelton.
Yes.
Queen.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Okay, and I make a recommendation that we hire Ms. Regina Raymond for custodian, but on a probationary basis, because we have had problems with custodians. And, I mean, they come in, they say they're gonna work and they're gonna do these things, and then when they get put on contract, it doesn't happen. So we don't want to have to run into that problem and be stuck with someone.
And this is to replace Sherman last month. Okay.
How long is probationary period?
Me personally, I would think from now to the end of the school year for this position. And then we'll determine then if this
Is
person,
it not in policy? Probationary period?
no, I don't think so. Because they had, I think that's for like if we're hiring people not on contract, they had something in there about that.
Well, a custodian, we don't have to non-renew. Yeah,
Temporary.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll just non-renew on that.
Yeah. So I would say to the end of the year, and then we reevaluate the situation at that time. If that person is a good worker, then we would keep them on.
All right, we have a motion to hire
Regina Raymond.
Regina Ramey as a temporary custodian worker to the end of the year. Do we have a,
Second.
Director Queen,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Ledford.
yes?
Williams.
Yes.
Shelton.
Yes.
Well, anything else?
No, nothing else.
Second.